So this we try to spot competitors with respect to technology depth and breadth of their product portfolio. So a horizontal axis represent the breadth of the product's portfolio, whereas vertical axis represents the depth of the technology. So if we see most of the players, if we divide or segment players, the top right side quadrant are clearly the leaders, where they have in-depth technology as well as in-depth technology expertise, and they have a broad product portfolio. The companies such as Cytiva, Thermo Fisher, Sartorius, these are the companies who are very specialized, have in-depth specific technology with respect to any step in the uh, bioprocessing workflow. And they do have a broad product portfolio. For example, Sartorius is reputed for bioreactors in the upstream, and they do have products across the different stages in the downstream as well. Thermo Fisher is reputed for having consumables, reagents across upstream and the downstream. And Cytiva, it is a reputed player in the downstream um, with chromatography systems. And of course, they are trying to vertically integrate to have the products across various steps of the bioprocessing workflow. If you see the top left side quadrant, these are companies such as Repligen, Novasep, Takara. These are specialists having high in-depth technological expertise in a specific phase or step of bioprocessing workflow. For example, Repligen is most reputed for uh, automation, and it is even partnering with other major players for process automation, process analytical technology. Takara is famous for viral vector technology. So each these are the specialist companies which are reputed or having in-depth technological expertise for one product or one step. If we come down into the graph, there are emerging players like Celtron and other companies which neither have tech in-depth technology nor have broad product portfolio, but they are new players in the market trying to tap the unmet need in the market and trying to develop their own solutions. And there are companies such as generalists having broad product portfolio, but uh, not in-depth technology. And these companies have reagents or consumables across various steps of the bioprocessing workflow. So clearly the players here constitute major share of the market, such as Cytiva, Sartorius, Thermo Fisher, Merck. So these are the major players having products across the bioprocessing workflow, and they constitute majority of the bioprocessing market. And other specialists like Repligen, Biorad, Takara, these are specialists that are have mm, in-depth technology with respect to specific type of bioprocessing workflow and trying to penetrate or vertically integrate to increase their product portfolio. So let's see how companies across each step of upstream and downstream bioprocessing are helping for the biologicals production. For example, some of these are some of the keys. So in upstream, seed train and media preparation, where the typical scale range is from 10 liters maximum in a lab scale to around 1,000 liters for commercial production scale. And what capabilities are needed is optimized nutrient formulations, reproducible media performance, uniform seed train expansion, and control scale up. So these are the major capabilities or parameters which are needed during seed train and media preparation, where various companies like Thermo Fisher has their own reagents branded as Gipco, Merck has their own media, and Sartorius has their own biostat seed system. So all these companies are providing their media reagents to help or use in this first step of the upstream process. Likewise, during the second or major step of fermentation step, each of the company, for example, Thermo Fisher has High Performa, Sartorius has Biostat, Danner or Sativa has Celerex, and all these companies has various brands of bioreactors which help in maintaining optimum conditions such as pH, oxygen control, or advanced agitation, helping in high density and stable cell growth from the lab scale to even production scale of 25,000 liters as well. And during harvesting step as well, Merck, Sartorius, they have various filters which help in product separation, removal of debris, and they have the products during this step to help in this for biopharma purification. The downstream filtration or diafiltration, Sartorius has systems, Merck has Pelican system, Danner has PAL TFF systems. In the chromatographic resins, which are reputed and used by most bioprocessing end users. Uh, and each company, so the point which we wanted to say is that each company has various branded systems across each step of the upstream and downstream bioprocessing workflow, which help to get these specific parameters and for various scales in the bioprocessing workflow. To summarize, if you see the heat map with respect to competitors or various players, and when we compare the product breadth, percentage of consumables, geographic reach, and growth drivers, Thermo Fisher has a very broad product. Means they have consumables and reagents across each step of bioprocessing workflow. The proportion of consumables in their bioprocessing product portfolio is very high. Of course, it is global, have high penetration across all the regions, and it is it has the major strategy is cross-selling across various platforms. It is providing services as well, bioprocessing or fermentation or other production services along with these equipment and consumables. Danner also very high with respect to consumables. Merck, for example, is very strong in downstream purification. Sartorius is also very strong in in upstream purification. Sartorius has various bioreactors and very strong in upstream purification. So each player has a specific strategy or specific strengths. Some Thermo Fisher has a very broad product portfolio. Danner also very broad portfolio, whereas Merck is strong in downstream. Sartorius is strong in upstream, and each company has various drivers or market impact. For example, Merck is reputed for virus clearance in the downstream. Sartorius is reputed for single-use systems and digital twins. So, so yeah, each company is strategizing and have the strengths or specific reputed products at each step of the bioprocessing workflow. So, process analytical technology, digital twins, and other niche technologies, including automated or closed loop systems. So, these are the major technologies which are being adopted by uh, or which major companies are developing. For example, uh, if you see the digital twins, Thermo Fisher and Merck are focusing more on digital twins, whereas Sartorius and Cytiva are focusing on technologies such as PAT and other niche technologies like closed loop or automations. And Repligen, Miltenny Biotech, and other uh, companies have more where some emphasizing on all technology. So uh, the point here is some of the players are more focusing or providing or developing products with respect to digital twin. Some companies are developing products with respect to that, and some on other technologies such as automation or closed loop such and other such technologies. So digital twins and PAT are the most niche trending technologies in the bioprocessing workflow, which even the providers, bioprocessing technology providers are developing, and also the end users, the major biopharma companies are also adopting these in their bioprocessing workflow. The other major trend, which I have touched upon in the first session, is single-use systems. The single-use processing market is, with respect to value, of course, 20%, but with respect to volume, it is almost 40% now with respect to single-use systems that includes single-use bioreactors or single-use bags or other single-use consumables. The major advantages are 20 to 30% less construction cost, 30 to 50% less time to market, 50% less energy cost, and 60% less water use of water with respect to single-use systems when compared to the reference or traditional stainless steel bioreactor. So these significant advantages um, are driving the adoption of single-use systems or single-use bioreactors across the uh, by biopharma companies in their workflow, in their production workflow. Of course, when coming to mergers and acquisitions, one of the strategy most of these major players are to acquire or to partner with other companies to vertically integrate their or expand their product portfolio in the workflow. For example, Thermo Fisher has acquired Solventum's purification and filtration business to broaden its downstream product portfolio. And Lonza has acquired GeneTech's biologics manufacturing site. Lonza, however, do have products, and but it is one of the major CDMO which helps or which supports biopharma companies in biologics or biosimilars manufacturing. Because Merck, Repligen, Sartorius, Cytiva, these are all the major players which have partnered or acquired the other companies having specialist technologies in recent years to vertically integrate and to improve their product portfolio. So, what is the future outlook? So, of course, the market is consolidated by major players, but there are definitely unmet needs. The market is consolidated at some phases of bioprocessing workflow, like there are major players for bioreactors, there are major players for media, for serum and other consumables, but there are technologies where most of the end users and biopharma companies are trying to implement the digital technologies such as digital twins, use of AI, or use of continuous and automated bioprocessing. So these are the areas where there is an unmet need, and all emerging or new players, including the major players, are trying to provide solutions within these areas, such as automated and continuous bioprocessing using perfusion technologies to reduce the turnaround time and improve production, use of digital twins and pads to predict the outcome of the production. And of course, the expansion of cell and gene therapies and personalized medicine. As we see, most of the in biologics, 30% of the biologics pipeline is on cell and gene therapy modality. And so the increasing use of cell and gene therapy, the requirement for the new automated continuous bioprocessing systems, the requirement for the use or integrating digital twins, PAT, and other niche technologies within the bioprocessing workflow definitely creates demand, or there is an opportunity for the new players to provide solutions in these specific areas in the bioprocessing workflow and tap the market opportunity. So this is the future outlook with respect to bioprocessing industry.